It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this pleasant and solemn function organized this morning in remembrance, honor, and memory of the fallen soldier, those brave, lion-hearted men who did the supreme sacrifice of giving up their lives in the discharge of duties in the cause of the nation. To the families of their martyrs, whom we honor and felicitate today, whose sacrifices are no less than that of the martyrs, and to those men from the forces who returned victorious from the battlefields but have been disabled to various degrees by injuries to their limbs, we greet and felicitate them and honor them today. This journey of celebrating the uniform began 5 years ago when our Sabha, which is predominantly a cultural institution, entered into a meaningful understanding with the Office of the General Officer Commanding Maharashtra, Gujarat and Goa to celebrate the national days, both the Independence Day and the Republic Day, far beyond the revelry, the joy, the festivity, and that overdose of patriotism that comes from the emotions that are stirred up during these days, to a meaningful way of contributing to the welfare of the forces. Over these years, despite the pandemic that had put paid to the celebrations in between, we have honored 31 families of martyrs, 58 wounded warriors, and have contributed ₹1 million each to the Artificial Limb Center at Pune and the paraplegic unit of the Indian Army at Kadki, so that they could buy mechanized wheelchairs for the disabled men. This journey of mainstreaming the civil society to take interest and from the periphery contribute to the functioning and strengthening of the armed forces continues. This year is indeed very special. This is the 70th year of Indian independence, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. 75 years in the history of a nation, or 2 generations apart, to be more precise, is too good a time as any now to assess the changes in independent India, and markers like the Amrit Mahotsav provide an occasion for reflection, of going down the memory lane, of assessing those limitations and those laggards which had pulled the nation behind in its journey of progress. More than 5,000 years ago, in the Indus Valley, when the first alphabets were etched in tablets of clay, even today, we have several Indians, men and women, who cannot read and write. The India of our dreams has still not emerged, but there is no denying that Mother India has made substantial progress since independence to partly meet the aspirations of the burgeoning population. The growth story of India since independence in a few sectors, and most of those sectors, is indeed very remarkable. From record agricultural production that today feeds more than 1 billion mouths and has suppressed and prevented hunger, to setting up large industrial plants in the country, or the advances in nuclear sciences or in space technology, and more precisely, as a major powerhouse, the most powerful nation as far as information technology is concerned, India is also the world's 3rd largest ecosystem for startups in the world. Given the background of the diversity that comes from its geography, ethnicity, religion, population, the progress of India in these fields is indeed remarkable. India is the 3rd largest economy in the world in terms of purchasing power parity. It is these streaks of India shining, and the fact that she is already on the super highway to an accelerated development to be a $5 trillion economy by 2025 that we are celebrating and honoring the forces today, who are solely responsible for the security, the sovereignty, and the integrity of the nation, and who provide for us the freedom from external aggression and sometimes internal aggression too, so that the collective energies of the billion-strong Indians can be united to alleviate the sufferings of the poor and to lift many of those below the poverty line to levels of decency in human living. Our armed forces are indeed very special. They are one of the most professional units, be it in the Army, the Navy, or the Air Force, across the world. The Indian Army is the second largest contingent in terms of number in the world. The men who comprise of these forces, and in these later years, women have also joined the ranks, are people of extraordinary determination, indomitable courage, people to whom the honor of the nation and the glory of the flag is far more important than their life itself. They embrace death for the cause of the nation and the honor and the glory of the flag. Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw once said, if a person were to say that he does not fear death, either he is lying or he is a Gorkha. I seek to expand these observations of the Field Marshal to say, why only a Gorkha? Every person in uniform, be it in the terrains, in the plains or in the mountains, or in the waters or in the air, are men and women of exceptional character, devotion and determination in the service of the motherland. The honor of the flag is sacrosanct for all of them. Living or dead, alive, fit or injured, the flag is their sole companion. Either they come back from the battlefield, keeping atop the tricolor in their hands, or are draped in the tricolor as the coffin is lowered for the final rites. It is the flag that keeps the energy of the armed forces going. We salute these men in uniform, those, all of you who are present over here, to those forces who had retired from the services and continue to serve the motherland in any other capacity, to these men on the wheelchairs or the disabled ones who had come victorious from the battlefields and are yearning to go back to the battlefield if they could, so that they can save the motherland of all the inimical forces that we have. We salute all of you and welcome you to this world of theatre and art, and would cherish taking you to the ethereal charm that the world of art provides. As I said, this year is indeed very special, and it is equally special for our armed forces. On the joyous occasion of the Amrit Mahotsav, the 70th year of Indian independence, Azadi ki 75 saal graha par, let us dedicate ourselves to the cause of the nation. हम ये दृढ़ संकल्प लें कि देश की अखंडता, एकता, प्रभुता को बरकरार रखे और देश को आगे बढ़ाए. And this resolve of taking the nation forward on a momentous occasion like the 70th year of Indian independence is indeed very significant. Let us resolve to fulfill the duties and the responsibilities which the armed forces have been doing with great distinction and devotion all during their lifetime, that we too draw a leaf from their lives and keep the flag flying atop at all points of time. We are very happy that on a joyous occasion like this today, we are also honoring the civil society who have contributed to the cause of the armed forces or have integrated themselves to the functioning of the forces and strengthened them in the discharge of their duties. Shanmuga Shaurya Award is an expression of our honoring the civil society that comes to play a noteworthy role in the functioning of the armed forces. This year, we are honoring an ordinary villager from a distant village near Cuttack in Odisha, Silu Nayak, who has come all the way from there to be part of us. Chilu failed to qualify for the armed forces, even for the other paramilitary forces, since his height of 168 centimeters was a centimeter lower than the minimum qualification for entry into the forces. That did not deter Silu Nayak. He decided to plunge himself at this very young age to be of service to the motherland. He decided to train the villagers in and around Cuttack and around his village to qualify for the stringent norms of the armed forces so that they could be recruited by them. Every morning starts for Silu with the training of the ordinary villagers across Odisha. Over these few years, Silu has trained over 300 people, and 70 of them have qualified for being taken into the armed forces and the paramilitary forces. In honoring Silu Nayak, we are drawing an illustration example that we ordinary mortals too can contribute to the cause of the armed forces of this country. We are beholden to Lieutenant General H.S. Kailan, the General Officer commanding Maharashtra, Gujarat and Goa, for his gracious presence at today's function. He joins his illustrious predecessors from this command area under the Southern Command, who have participated in such functions of this Sabha, not only to encourage the armed forces, but also civilians to join the mainstream of functioning of the armed forces. This is the first visit of the Lieutenant General to our Sabha. We welcome you, sir, with folded hands. And I am sure there will be many more occasions during his tenure in this area, command area, to be with us. We are also grateful to his better half, who has come along with him, not just to grace the function, but also to felicitate the Martyrs' families, people who had succumbed to fate during the last year in facing the inimical forces in this country. We are beholden to you, sir, for your gracious presence at today's function. I have always wondered, what is it that keeps the forces going, the flag flying high at all times? It is their indomitable spirit, the courage, the sacrifice that they would like to do, even of their own lives, that ensure that people like ordinary civilians like us are safe and secure. In honoring the men in uniforms and those who have retired from the services of the armed forces, we are only acknowledging their contribution to the safety and security of all of us, so that we can contribute to the growth and development of this nation. Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, the former Prime Minister of India, was an outstanding poet too. He once wrote, "Ahudi baki yajna adhura, apnon ko vignon se gera, antim jai ki vraj banaye, naye dadichi haddiya gilaye, आओ फिर से दिया जलाए, आओ फिर से दिया जलाए." We are celebrating the 75th year of Indian independence. We have progressed substantially in various fields. We have also remained behind in several fields. We still have a large army of people living below the poverty line, people who have not seen the benefits of growth and development in this country. To them, the safety and security of this land is fundamental before they realize their own potentials. We salute all those people in uniform who have contributed to the growth and development of this nation. As I come to the end of my address this morning, may I welcome you all to this solemn function. The whole purpose of a function like this is to integrate the civil society to the mainstream activities of the armed forces, support them, and enable that they are embodied to defend the sovereignty and the security of the nation at all times. Thank you and God bless.